All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Pineapple Headache.
Woo!
I don't know if there's much to celebrate because something has happened to me.
Would you say it gave you a headache?
Yeah, it really did give me a headache. Like first thing when I woke up and saw what happened.
Yes, would you like to explain? Set the scene
Okay,
for
so
us.
I woke up. The area that I live in has like street cleaning time, so I have to move my car. So I went to go get in my car and turn it on, and when I turned the key, my car sounded like a race car. And I was like, what is that sound? That's not supposed to make that
What
sound.
Describe what your car does look like. Does it at all look like a race
It does
car?
not look like a race car. It is an 18-year-old Honda CRV that has been passed down from my parents. My parents bought it as a used car and then just passed it on to me when I got my license. So it's a pretty old
Wow.
car.
She's been through it.
I was looking under my hood, being like, what's wrong with my car? Everything looked fine. And then I looked under my car and I saw a bunch of loose bolts and nuts on the ground. And I kept looking at it and I saw that my muzzle wasn't attached. What is muffler? I don't know why I say
Muffler?
muzzle. My muffler
Muzzle?
wasn't attached to anything. And I was like, something should be there. And then I realized because I have Nextdoor, you know, the app where you can like see what's going on in your local neighborhood. So I have
Yes.
Nextdoor for the area that I live in, and there have been a recent rise in catalytic converters being stolen. So I put two and two together,
Uh-oh.
and I realized that my catalytic converter had been stolen sometime between Monday night and Wednesday morning. So that was
Well,
my morning yesterday.
yes, and then you text me about it and I immediately was like, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
so I had to Google it. What does the catalytic converter do? What
So,
is the
okay, so
science?
a catalytic converter, you know how cars can release like smoke emissions into the air, gas, all that, pollution.
You mean how we're all slowly
Yeah, with
polluting
our
the earth?
cars. So the catalytic converter is actually
Yeah.
supposed to reduce the emissions of the car because like I guess it goes through there before it leaves your through your muffler. So it's supposed to do that. You need a catalytic converter to be able to pass your smog test that you're supposed to get every year to be able to renew your registration for your car. And it
Mm-hmm.
also helps like make your car really quiet. So when I turned my car on, like as I said before, it sounded like a race car and it was pretty loud.
Some people are into that, and I don't get it.
Yeah, so it got stolen. I was like doing research, but like apparently there are the metals or I guess chemicals that they use for it has is very valuable depending on the catalytic converter that you get.
Do these people who steal it, they just like sell
I
it to
guess.
people
I don't know if
afterward?
that's legal in the state of California. I know it's not legal in the state of
Cause
Texas.
like, cause it's like they can only sell it to other people who are in on the crime. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess.
understand. And then, cause what do you do
I
with it
don't know.
after that? You're just like, cool, I have
I don't
this
know.
now.
But yeah, I did like
Wow.
my research. So what had happened, I think, was my car was parked a little too far from the curb. And also my car is like a little taller than most cars. Or, like a regular car because it's like
Yeah.
a
Like, there's like cars, and then there's like
yeah, I
SUV
don't know if
looking
it is an
cars.
SUV because it's not like huge.
But it's like that concept of it,
Yeah,
like
it's a
a
taller
bigger, taller
car.
car, meant for like traveling and
Yeah.
taking
My car
stuff.
was parked a little too far from the curb and because of its height, it's like it seemed a little bit more tempting for whoever stole it. So they were able to slide in and I guess use like a power saw or something to cut through the muffler and just take it out. So,
Wow, you would think that would like wake people up or
yeah.
something, and they'd be like, "What
Yeah,
the
I
hell's
don't know,
happening
but
outside?"
I looked under my car, got all the nuts and bolts, and found the cut piece of my muffler, and I was like, this was definitely tampered with. Yes, but
Wow,
that is just one of the highs and lows of living on your own,
the
the
triumphs
triumphs and
and
lows.
lows.
But that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. What is it like to live independent, and what is it like to not have your parents around to help you with stuff like this happens?
Everything. Yeah. Well, so what for your story specifically, what's the game
Um,
plan from here? What did your
so,
parents say?
as you would think, I called my dad and he was like, okay, so you just got to find a mechanic and you got to find a catalytic converter that they can hook it up with. So, my dad gave me the guidance, but since he's in Texas and I'm all the way here in LA, I have to do it myself. So I spent yesterday calling mechanics and so I was able to find one. So I'm going to take my car in some time and get my catalytic converter. Yeah. And in the process,
Whoa.
I think before moving to LA or just living by myself in general, I didn't really know that much about cars. But since I own an 18-year-old used car, there are problems that arise here and then, and which forces me to examine my car and basically understand it a lot more to be able to solve the issue.
You're basically just
Yeah.
baptism by fire
Yeah,
into
so
the
it's
car
like I
world.
know, like I look in my engine, it's like I know how to like refill liquids under my hood if needed. I now know what a catalytic converter is and how people will steal it.
Yeah, now I'm afraid of
Yeah, but it's
everything.
just stuff like that, and it's like you said with baptism by fire, you just kind of have to learn and move on from it and just know what to do next time.
Learning on the fly.
So now I know that with my car, because of its height, people are more likely to steal my catalytic converter. So I just have to park it really close to the curb. And I had told Madison prior, I was like, my new standard of parallel parking, because that's all you can really do, like in my neighborhood, is parallel park. My new standard for parallel parking is that I have to park it so close to the curb that once I get out and look at how close it is, I have to imagine if my 5 foot body could fit like under.
Under. Well, if it's parked like where the tires are touching the curb, is how far up is like the actual car itself from like the curb? Like if you're parked where like the tires are actually like
Touching the curb.
touching it, like how much space is there between like the curb and the
Oh,
bottom
not
of your
much. Like I
car?
just moved my car again today for street cleaning and I moved it so close to where the tires are touching the curb and it's like there's no room for anyone to get under. So unless someone
Mm,
wanted to steal my catalytic converter, they would have to go through the other
go around
side,
the
which
other
is
way.
farther away from the catalytic converter. And if someone were trying to do something, maybe someone will run over their legs. I don't know.
As
Yeah.
happens.
And it's just like a lesson I learned now. And I also learned how valuable catalytic converters are because they're pretty expensive to buy.
So do you have to like buy it first and then bring it to a mechanic, or do they
That was
have
my
them there?
original plan, which is why I called up our favorite auto shop, the Auto Zone.
The
Yeah,
zone,
yeah,
the zone, auto zone.
yeah. And so I was asking them for assistance to find the right catalytic converter to see if it might be cheaper to just buy it and then just hand it off to an auto shop to just hook it up for me. So they were helping me, and the person I was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, so if you want a catalytic converter from us, it's gonna cost $1,300." And I was like,
Bruh.
mm,
Is that including like the
no,
fixing
that's
part?
just
Like
the
them
part
put Of course
itself.
not.
The
Oh
auto
god.
shops that I've been talking to, like the actual like mechanic repair shops, it costs around about like $120 to actually like the labor cost of actually hooking up the catalytic converter. So I was like, okay, that's not too bad. It was just the converter itself. Luckily, I found a
Yeah.
mechanic repair shop nearby that can provide both the converter and the labor, so it should be a lot cheaper than flat out paying $1,300.
Doing them
Yeah.
separately. Yeah. My gosh. Well, the the mechanics in your area must be getting like a lot of
Yeah,
work
I had,
then,
well, because they were like, oh,
and they're probably like,
when I was going around on the phone, like talking to everyone, they're like, oh, so like, what, do you need like a replacement or something? And I was like, yeah, my catalytic converter got stolen. And they're like, ah, that's what I figured. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, do people normally have to replace it when it's not stolen? Like, how would you know to replace it? Does something If your car is just awkwardly
I mean,
loud, but it's still in
I
there,
guess it
like,
would
does
need
that
to
mean
be
it needs to be
replaced if you were ever
replaced?
to do like, your vehicle inspection and if it were not up to par with the standards, yeah, the emissions thing, then
Mm,
I'm assuming you would have
the
to get it
emissions
replaced, like
thing.
that type of thing. But my car is fine. Like it passed the emissions test when I was renewing my registration.
Mm.
Just need the new one. Yeah, but it's fine. Like this is not the first time something like this has happened to me.
Yeah, Christienne is like the one is like my token person in my life where like things just get stolen from her. Like I don't really, at least when I was an adult, I don't know of any time someone has stolen from me, but you have a very
Yeah.
unfortunate luck with
It's
that.
like sad, but I think part of like things like when things like that happen, it's just made me be more minimalist with the things that I have, and it's like I won't if this gets taken, like I don't want to be so upset or stuff like that. So when I got the converter stolen, like obviously I cried because it's like, what do I do? Like just the realization of like someone legit just stole this from my car.
Yeah, and they just left you to clean up
Yeah,
the whole mess and have to sort everything out.
yeah, and it's just kind of, I cried about it, being like, life's not fair, but then I like picked myself back up and I was like, okay, I gotta call the mechanics now. I gotta figure out how to solve this problem. So and that's just how life is for me. I just have to like let the
Yeah,
feeling pass and then get back into it.
that's true. Do you want to talk about your other experience being stolen from?
So when was this? Sophomore year? Yeah.
It was the summer between sophomore and junior year, so it was 2018, and we were moving into our
Yeah,
first
so
off-campus apartment
right.
together. So it was right after sophomore year ended. It was like May or June.
Prior to moving into that apartment, because we used to live in dorms, I would put my stuff in a storage place and then go home back to Houston for the summer. And then when the school year started, I would just like get my stuff and just go. So during that year, I found a storage place nearby the campus that was recommended by the Loyolan or LMU campus newspaper being like best place to store your stuff. So I stored my stuff. It wasn't just my stuff too. It was my friend Dion and then my sister. So like this is three people's worth of stuff in the storage unit. So I leave our stuff there, make sure it's locked and everything. And then I also had like a really thick master lock. Like you really have to cut through them
Yeah.
to be able to break it. I'm just gonna set it up as that. So then I left.
It
I was away
was
for
like what, for like a month?
yeah, for like a month, and then I came back to move in into our new apartment. I go to the storage unit with my parents, and I go to like the storage number, and then I look at the lock, and I get very confused because I'm like, this is not my lock. What is this? And so I'm like going to the storage unit employee people, and I'm like, hey, this is not my lock. Can you open this for me? And so they like get a guy to like cut or use bolt cutters to cut the lock open. They cut it, I open it, and it's just all the stuff is just ravaged through. Like they took whatever they could. Basically, like they took like a lot of the bedspread of our bedspreads and like clothes. They took a
Who
lot of
got out of the three of you? Who lost the most?
I think I lost the most, honestly. Because I also lost a lot of like personal mementos. I lost a tablet I left, but it was like a $30 tablet, so I was just kind of like whatever about it. The good thing about it was that when I was getting the storage unit before putting everything in, I was talking to my dad about like, like the steps to do and all that, and he's like, "Don't get the insurance. You don't need the insurance." But for some reason, I had decided, I was like, no, I'm just going to get this insurance in case. So I
Mm-hmm.
got the insurance. I was able to get it covered because it was a
Yes.
theft. And I reported it to the police and everything, like, had a whole police report, sent all that information in to the insurance company, and they were like, yeah, we'll cover it for you. So I got money back.
Nice.
So
Did
it's,
they steal your clothes?
yeah, they stole like a good amount of my clothes. Actually, I think they stole all of my clothes that I left in there.
How many clothes did you leave? Like a
Um,
lot?
not not, I didn't really leave much, I don't think. Like I probably just left like some like old t-shirts that I would use as PJs and stuff because
Wow.
because when I was leaving, I wasn't going like straight back home. Remember, I was going on a
Yes. I
program
know.
in France. So it's not
Yes.
like I could just bring everything with me. So of course I had to leave some stuff there. That summer
Well,
was
no,
a
I was
really
just gonna
wild one.
say, yeah, well, I was just gonna say, wow, it's kind of a miracle you actually had the graduation shirt.
Oh
Still the
yeah.
May 6th,
Oh,
2020
probably because
after all
I
that.
brought it with me, or like I had it with me. But yeah,
You were like, no, I'm not risking this shirt. This
yeah.
shirt stays with me.
But good thing though, because like I have like all my camera equipment, right? So good thing I didn't leave any of my
Yeah.
camera equipment there or all that. Like I just decided to
Like,
bring that with me.
or like any like really important documents or anything and stuff, like anything like that, where it's like
Mm,
really either really valuable or really like actual
the
like
only thing,
classified
the
personal
only
info.
thing I was upset about, no, I didn't have any like important documents in there. The only thing I was really upset about was all of the journals that that I had spilled my emotions into were stolen. Which,
Yes.
like, of course, it's not like valuable, really. It's just I just really got embarrassed when I thought about the people who stole it, opening it, and just like reading like a teenage girl's feelings, you know?
Maybe they were just like, wow, what a profound writer. We feel bad for
Yeah.
stealing.
I kind of just like pick things up back from there. Oh, you know what also got stolen? So a lot of like I had Funko Pops, they got stolen. Some of them were like personal gifts that friends had given me like back in Houston, so I was kind of upset about that. I also had my Kairos cross
And
stolen.
that got stolen.
Yeah. And I was like, they're not gonna know what this is. Like it's probably not that valuable. It's not like it's real gold or anything.
Yeah. Now we've learned just never store stuff ever.
Yeah.
That's the lesson I took from that. I was like, oh,
So
okay.
that was
I'm just gonna make people take my stuff if
it
I ever go somewhere.
it's just ironic because you like right at the front of the storage unit place, it says number one place to store stuff for students at LMU, endorsed by the LMU Loyolan
Oh
newspaper.
god.
So it is what it is. It happened.
It happened.
I
That was almost
I
3 years ago now.
I of course was devastated by it, but like now looking back, you recover in some ways. So I think when this whole catalytic converter thing happened, it's like I will feel the way I feel in the moment, but at the end of the day, it's just a car part.
At least no human was harmed
Yeah.
in the process of stealing.
Yeah, at least no one got hurt. But I think about what you said of the whole thing of like baptism by fire, like since my parents aren't always there to help me, like to the extent that they are able to through the phone and like through the
Yeah.
web, like they try to, but at the end of the day, like it's just up to me to figure things out. And so it's just kind of hard lessons to learn.
The joys of living alone in a big city.
Yeah.
Or not alone, but like
Just
without
like living
parental
without your
supervision.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's like it's kind of shown me I do value independence. It's like there's just a lot of things that come with it if ever a situation like that were to arise, you know?
Yep, just a
Yeah.
lot of fun things to deal with. I know, I don't think I've had any experiences that dramatic
No, but
or
I
that like intensive.
yeah, I don't think so. But, you know, I think it's just like in a matter of a lot of firsts. Like, I think last year it was like my first time actually making my own doctor's appointment, like actually finding a doctor, making a doctor's appointment, handling my
Mm,
prescription, because both my parents are nurses, so of course they would take a handle on
yeah,
that. But, like, since I was doing that now,
because they're
yeah,
just like,
since
I
I was
can
doing
just
that,
do
I was
this.
like, okay, insurance.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess my like closest experience to that, which we already talked about, was my whole experience of trying to
Oh,
get
yeah.
COVID tested and then Kaiser being so difficult. And I'm just like, ugh, this vaccine thing, I feel like it's just gonna be a repeat of that. So I feel like I need to like actually travel home and back just to
Yeah.
get this vaccine without wanting to
Mm-hmm.
rip my hair out. So that'll be
Yeah. Oh,
fun.
I also thought another adulting, I guess, like moment where I was like, oh, I have to be an adult now was, well, because the first apartment that we lived in off campus, like, we had the help of a parent, and, like, they were doing a lot of the work
Yeah.
to, like, find the place for us. But after I graduated, like I wanted to still live in LA. So it was just all on me to just find an apartment and like get everything set up, like and do all that. So finding it, I was also doing it in the least amount of time possible for some reason. Like I had found an apartment in
Yeah.
a matter of 3 weeks and like moved in, and I was like, I went during a pandemic. I was going to like apartment viewings. I was like doing all my research. I was like, okay, where do I want to live in? Like, what's in like the budget? Like, what's affordable for me and my sister who I live with? What's the proximity of it away from like her campus because she's still a student and all that. So that was a whole stressful time because it was like at the time it was we were graduating college. I was like felt the stress of like not wanting to be unemployed, so I was also applying for jobs. I'm sure you were also feeling a lot as well. And then I was also trying to figure out my
Yes.
housing situation because there was a time when me and Madison thought we were going to live together, but then that didn't end up pulling through.
That was like, it just was
Yeah.
not going to be feasible because neither of us were like
Mhm.
working. So, like, I was like, I don't really know how to pay for this. And then, like, cousins who usually stay with my grandma, only one of them was also going off to college. So then, and one, like, all three were home because of the pandemic. And then two were going to college in the fall. So I was like, I guess I'll just move
Yeah.
in and cover that base
Yeah,
and
so
just deal
like
with that. And also because I don't even have a job. So I was like, I don't know how
that's
to pay
true.
for an
Yeah,
apartment.
I like my parents again, like my parents are there to help me. Like they tell me to like look out for this like stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was the one having a lot of the conversations of like, okay, so like what's included with the apartment, like utilities, bills and all that stuff, like what is the leasing period, like asking, kind of those questions. And so by doing that, now I have a better idea of what to look for next time. And also, again, it's like
Hmm.
you kind of just learn by doing because you can't forget the experience. I feel like kind of the trauma of it happening just makes you not want to forget.
You'll
Yeah.
remember for next time.
So, yeah, at times it kind of sucks. It's very stressful.
I miss having like adults there to that make because it feel like when an adult is still present, I feel like it just feels like situations are just gonna be more under control by like someone, even if it's like something I'm doing. If it's like I'm like, okay, well, if my parents are around, then like it can't completely
Yeah,
spin
and it
out of
was like
control.
there were times where I would tell, like, kind of update my parents through how it's going, and then they would be like, you have to be able to negotiate. They were like, you need to be more firmer with your voice. So, for me, since I'm like just this small, like Asian girl, I have to be able to carry myself very well. So it's a lot of me basically scaring myself to be like, I have to do this or it's not going to work out because people are going to assume things about me and like how they might take advantage of me, like financially or whatever. So I just have to sound like I know what I'm talking about and
Yeah.
like get it across.
That's so hard. That's so difficult. I feel like I never know what's going on, so I'm just like,
Yeah, but like it ended
well,
up working out. Like I remember when I got the apartment that I live in now and it was all empty and I was just standing in the middle of it and I was like, I really just did this. Like I got an apartment all on my
you
own. And
did.
so I was like, wow, this is exciting and also really stressful that whole like 3 week period of me just like going back and forth, like trying to go negotiate like security deposits and all that is like all good. Oh, and then also the thing of like moving stuff because I didn't
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
was gonna
get
say.
a moving van or anything because I thought my car could handle it. Like
Yeah,
Madison said, my car is
the
like a lot
size.
bigger to hold things. It has a pretty big trunk space.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bigger than a car,
Mhm.
as I call normal
So like I
cars.
just brought I think for like the last week that our lease ended for our previous apartment, I was like moving things back and forth with my car. I think it took like 5 trips to get everything moved in.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did a
Yeah.
lot
And
of
also
back and
like
forth.
even though my sister's living with me, like it was all me to do that. Yeah, I mean like
She
with the
wasn't
help of
here.
like you and my boyfriend, there was no moving company. I was moving like another person's stuff.
When do you get a like what time? What point in your life can you invest in like movers? Like at what point in our
I guess if
life
you
will we
have
get to that when we can
really
pay
well,
other people to do
once you
it?
have money, and also if you can afford like nicer furniture.
I guess. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving my silly
Mm-hmm.
little IKEA bed is just gonna keep getting moved
Yeah.
around. So yeah, you did a lot of adulting in the last like three
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then the other thing we were gonna talk about was us traveling
Oh,
without
yeah.
parents.
I mean, I was gonna tell you because I had told Madison, I was like, oh, what if you talked about the time you like traveled to Japan?
Yeah, because I did it through a thing at LMU, so I wasn't completely alone, but it was my first time like traveling super far or like internationally without like family members or like like adults who were related to me. So that I was kind of like, whoa, that's like kind of a thing, but I was also with like 20 other like students and then like a like couple professors and stuff who were like watching us, but we were allowed to like kind of like go out on the town on our own at night, even though we kind of
Hmm.
had like a curfew, but we were no one was gonna check. Like we were allowed to go out and do stuff, and like luckily the program had us kind of like partnered with this school in Tokyo, Sophia University, and so we knew this. We had like, already met the students from there who were in the program, so like they helped us and would take us around. Like there was one day where we were basically allowed to go wherever we wanted, and so they were like gonna help us like navigate. So on that one day, we managed to go to two
Oh, yes, of
Pokemon
course.
centers, aka the stores. Yes, but as I told Christiane, the tragedy of that, even though obviously everybody who knows me knows that's like my dream come true, the tragedy of that was the one day we were doing that, I forgot my debit card in my hotel room. So I could not go get it because I had gone, because before that I would just carry enough like yen on my person just to buy random souvenirs. Like I didn't want to get like my whole debit card stolen, even though I'm not really sure that's that big of a problem in Japan compared to like other places, but I don't know. I just was kind of like, guess I'll be careful and not bring every single thing with me all the time if I'm not going to use it. But then that backfired because then I just forgot it on the day I really needed it. So then I had to borrow money from one of the professors, and then one of our friends who was on the trip, she had to like I paid for a bunch of stuff with the yen that I did have, and then she had to pay for the rest of it on her card, and then I just had to like pay her back because obviously it's the Pokemon Center. When else am I gonna be there? Like I was going in with the mindset of like if I empty my entire bank account right here right now, it's fine. Like it's for Pokemon. Like what has my whole life been for if not for this moment? But then obviously I couldn't empty my whole bank account because I wasn't even spending my own bank account. So I could only spend like, $200 instead of like a gazillion dollars, I guess. But it's fine. I still got a lot of cool stuff. But also this just means I have to go back
Someday.
someday. Maybe on my own. On my own, so then I can spend as much time there as I want. But I'm also very intimidated at the idea of traveling to a foreign country where there's not a lot of English speakers, like without other adults who are older than me or like somebody with me who can speak that language. But I don't know, I guess it's just part of adulting, just traveling. But you had your fun international
Oh, yeah,
unsupervised
that
trip
same
also that
summer.
year.
Yeah. So I had applied
Yes.
to this film program, like a 2 week film program that would allow me to go to Cannes, France, and like see what the Cannes Film Festival is like. So
Yeah, just
yeah,
casual
like it
flex, like
wasn't.
hello. You went to the
Yeah,
Cannes
I
Film
kind of forget that
Festival.
that happened because it's just so mind-boggling that
Me
it did.
too.
But it was a whole thing coming because it like wasn't through a school or anything. It was a program that my professor like recommended me that I apply. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And then ended up getting in, and there was a fee for it, and I was like, I don't have that kind of money. I think it was around like 2,500 or something to be able to provide housing
Hmm.
and probably like the one meal a day that they would offer us. So I remember I like crowdfunded the money to be able to do
You
that, and that was my
did.
first like
Oh.
crowdfunding project ever, and I was able to make up the money. And then, yeah, right when the
Hmm.
school year ended, when sophomore year ended, I got on a plane and flew by myself to France and like ended up living with like the other people in the program. And so we were like hanging out, and making a short film together that was going to be premiered in one of the theaters like in the town. But a lot of the time, like they kind of just let us go roam free for ourselves. Like with the badge that I had, I was able to get access to a lot of stuff at the festival. So I was able to see a lot of like screenings. Like I had watched Black Klansman while I was there. I had watched a lot of like foreign films when I was there, just seeing the different countries that were represented. I saw Chewbacca there because that Han Solo movie came out. Yeah.
He's there.
But I didn't have like like I didn't have like my parents or anything there, so I could literally do whatever I wanted. It was a very exciting time.
It really was. And then we also traveled
We
alone
did.
together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just us being like, what if we just went to New York at the end of our.
Well, I think it started as you wanted to go, and I was like, I would like to go, and then we were talking about it in like the spring, and then it was like, what if we did it in the summer? But then we were only like 2 months out, so the flights were super expensive. Maybe it was you who came up with what if we do
Oh,
it in December.
this is in 2019, by the way.
Yeah, so this was a year after our brief abroad
Hmm.
travels. So we were like, oh yeah, like we're the shit, we can do it or whatever. And then we booked it in like August. We got an
Yeah.
Airbnb and our flights and everything in like August before school had even started. So basically, we booked this whole trip with like that was going to be after school had ended. So we had to go through an entire semester kind of like it was going to be like a nice like we're done with this whole semester. So it was like a nice thing to work towards for like 4 months. But yeah, we got a really good deal flying there because we were flying into Newark because we were staying in Jersey City. But the problem was, from New York, we were going not the same. Both of us were not going back to LA. You were going to Canada to like
Oh
meet up with
yeah.
your family,
My
and then I
family wanted to
was,
spend.
yeah, you were gonna go spend Christmas in Canada with the Oh wait, I think that's why also we did it,
Oh,
right?
we did it early because my mom. I remember because my mom was calling me, being like, "Hey, we're gonna go spend Christmas in Canada with like my
Yeah.
cousins and stuff." And then I had to tell her, I was like, "Oh, I want to go travel to New York with Madison," and she was like, "Okay, we can make it work."
Yeah, so we
So,
basically just like did that before, and then you were just gonna go like rendezvous with
mm-hmm.
them in like Canada, and then I was just gonna fly straight home to Sacramento. But so we were only able to book one flight together, and that when we got our flight there, it was non-stop one way on Alaska, and it was only like $120. That was
Oh,
like a
it because
steal.
I remember we were doing that, and then also when you were booking our Airbnb, because you had talked to like one of your friends of like like what's a good place to stay
Yeah.
at, because hotel, like staying in Manhattan
Yeah,
is
it's so
expensive.
expensive. So like I was asking because two of my friends lived in Jersey at the time, so I was like, "What's the deal?" And they were like, "Oh, like if you stay in Jersey City and then just like take the train into like New York every day, like that is like way cheaper and stuff." I was like, "You know what? That sounds like a good idea." So we found a really good deal on an Airbnb. Like I think because we were there what like 5 or 6 nights, like almost a whole week, and
I
like our Airbnb stay was like only like 200 something dollars for like overall. Like and then between two
Yeah.
of us, we just each paid like 100 something for like 5 or 6 nights.
Yeah,
I
I
think it
think it
was
was like
five
around like
nights.
60 or $70 a night. But also
Yeah,
it's
which
like
is
I
like
don't think we were picky with the locate
oh
or
yeah
with
no.
like what the place was, because we were there, like of course we were going to be out all the time. We just needed a
It's
place
just a
to like
place to
sleep.
sleep. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was like I just needed to not be super gross and like I don't want to get murdered. Like that's just like that was basically my standards. And we shared a bed. We were just like when I was like I will share a twin bed with you if I have to. Like I don't have standards, and we both grew up with sisters, so we're used to bed sharing when traveling anyway. Like this is how it is. So, but then for the flights back, because then the other problem we were having is that since we were going like mid December, like each day, like each day that passes, the flights get more and more expensive because you're getting closer and closer to Christmas and the whole Christmas traveling thing. And we were staying until like, I think the 18th, the day after my birthday. And so that put
Mhm.
us like a week out from Christmas. So then the flights were like like I think my flight for me to go back to Sacramento from Newark, there were no direct flights. So I had to get one with a layover. So I was like just on the off, I was me in August. I was like, maybe it'll snow then. Maybe it won't. I don't know, cuz like at the time I think my friends were like, "Oh, it usually doesn't snow that hard like in December. Like it's usually like after the new year, like the snow is more like actually affecting stuff, like how there's the big storm in the East Coast right now with like a ton of snow. Like that usually happens not in December." So I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll just get this one where the layover's in LA. Like it's a 40-minute layover or something, which was like, gonna be hard. But it was the same airline, so it'd be the same terminal. It would just have to be me running from one plane to the other, basically. So I was like, I'll just do it because it's in LA. Worst comes to worst, we live like what, 3 miles away from LAX. Because LMU is literally right next to the airport. Our apartment is right next to LMU. So I was like, if something happens, I guess I can just go recollect myself at our apartment if I miss my flight. And then, long story short, as I was boarding my plane to return home, a snow squall hit, which I learned what a snow squall was, which
Yeah.
we both ended up having separate uh traumatic things with snow at the end of our trip that messed both of us up. And so it was mine, a snow squall had the time to like form and then hit while I was boarding the plane, and then we just didn't leave for like 2 hours. We just sat there. I don't know why. Like we literally sat there and just like basically waited for it to like get to the point where it was unflyable, and then after it cleared, we were still sitting there. And so I was like texting my parents like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna make this flight. And then so they were just like, so my mom like called United for me and like was able to rebook my flight. So I just want to say that, up until that happened, this trip was 100% booked and planned by just me and Christiane with no parents until the snow messed everything up, which I know happened
Yeah.
to you as well.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, well, I mean, the entire trip was just fun in general. But also, I think one of moments that we should talk about was like you celebrated your birthday with like online friends
Oh my god,
at
that
a
was so
bar.
chaotic. That was very
Y-
chaotic. So also, yes, cuz I had I had two online friends who lived in Jersey who I hadn't met before. We've been friends for like over a year at that point. And then I also had, so those were my friends, Camille and Soph. And then my online friend Serena, who I had met in person. She visited LA like a year prior and also came right when school was starting in August of that year. And so then she's not from New York, but she's on the East Coast, and like everything's like close there. I don't know. So I was like, we're gonna be there. So she was like, oh yeah, me and my friend will go, and then so we can hang out when we're there. So then I basically forced all these people who were just, their only common denominator was just me. I just forced them all to hang out with me on my birthday at a bar. But I think it was fun.
Yeah, I think it was fun. Like you're all getting to know each other. Because the only person I had met was Serena, and I was just like, okay, these are all Madison's friends that she's met online, so I'm just gonna get to know them as well.
Yeah, well, because then the other exciting thing of my birthday was that was when we learned Christiane's travels home or to Canada were also not going to be smooth. We were at Chelsea Market with Serena and Reeve, and we were just
Mm.
walking around, and then like we were taking pictures or something, and then your mom, I think, called you because she was like, because there was already a snowstorm in Canada, so then your mom called you and was like, your flight got canceled. Because Serena was like taking
Oh.
pictures of me in front of something, and then you like walked away. You're like, "Oh, my mom's calling me," and then you just came back and like just had like no indication of any emotion on your face. You were just kind of like, "My flight got canceled." LOL. Like that was basically you. You were like, "My flight got canceled, but I'm not worried." And then we were all like, "Oh."
Oh yeah, like
That was your approach. You were just like, "Yeah." Like I might be stuck here an extra night, but I'm fine. And I was like,
well,
oh.
cause I think I was being calm because my mom sounded really panicked on the phone. Like I have to, she was like, I'm on the phone right now. I'm trying to book you on the next available flight. And then I kind of saw it as an opportunity to just another day to just be around, like go around New York. So I was like, no, it's okay. You can find a flight for the next day and it'll work out. It'll be fine. Yeah, like I remember in the bar, I was telling Camille and Self about it and they were like, that sounds stressful. And I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm leaving either way, but here's all these. I just introduced you to all these East Coast people, so there you go.
Yeah. And then so that happened, and then the next day we went to go grab like breakfast, I think.
Yes.
Oh, before the night before, I remember I was looking and I was like, Madison, should I just like buy another ticket to a musical to go see?
Yes. That was the
Yeah,
one
like
night we did not get a full 6 hours or whatever. That night we were up pretty late because we were
yeah.
packing.
And we were trying to figure out a game plan for the next day, like how to
Oh my
get
god,
from
because we had to check out of our Airbnb, so we had to bring all of our luggage with us into the city
mhm.
because neither of us had scheduled to fly out like in the morning anyway. So then, which it didn't matter for you anymore. But my flight wasn't until the evening or the afternoon. So then, and then you were just, I don't know, you just had to figure out somewhere to go. But so we had to store our luggage somewhere in the city, and we had to use that weird like online service where you go to those like
Yeah.
random like stores, and then you're just like, can I? And then you have to just like leave your luggage at the random stores.
Yeah, I was at a deli store when I took mine. But
Yeah.
I
Oh
told
yeah. Also,
Madison,
why didn't we go to the same place? Sorry, I'm like still thinking about like
oh,
why didn't we
because
store at the
it was
same?
in terms of like time period, like how long you
Right.
could store your stuff there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I guess you because you needed a shorter time period than I did because I needed to stay like have someone hold my luggage till like way late at night. As we were planning that, I was also like asking Madison. I was like, Madison, should I just like get my money and just buy a ticket to go see Hadestown? Because as
Mm.
I've said in a previous episode, like that is one of my all-time favorite musicals. And I was like, I'm here in New York. I'm here another day.
Yeah, that's
Like
like
I might as
fate.
well yeah, I was like I might as well do it. So I just decided to splurge on myself and I was like I'm going to try to sit closer to the front cuz when it comes to watching musicals or theater, like I usually go for the cheaper side and sit like at the balcony, like farther in the back, but I was like no. Like, it was my one time. The next day like we parted ways. Madison had to go to the airport
Mhm.
and then I like hung around like Times Square because I had to go see the show. And then I saw that the squall happened. It just started snowing all of a sudden. I was like,
Yes.
okay. Then for the next like 2.5 hours, I was in another world watching this musical and just watching Eva Noblezada and Reeve Carney fall in love and all that. And I was like, it's so beautiful. I can't even wrap my head around it. I had to go like rush over to the deli place to go get my stuff because I was really like crunching. Like I was like in crunch time.
I
Otherwise,
was
I would have
also
been
in crunch time. We both did not plan it out well. I thought I was gonna like I thought I was gonna miss my flight. That was how crunchy my thing was.
yeah, so like I was like I didn't want to pay for the late back fee, so I was like rushing over. I was taking like the subway and trains and I was just walking by myself. But it's New York City, so everyone's like still awake and walking around. So I got my stuff, I'm just like carrying my luggage around like New York City. I get on I don't know how many like trains I got on.
Well, cause it was like yet from Penn Station you had to go on the like the not subway like the train the
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Jersey one, which used a whole different app, and so that was part of why I
Mhm.
was so like I was so disoriented. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm
Yeah,
going,
so
and then like you have to take a weird air tram thing at the airport, and then like I was like, oh god.
yeah, so I did all that and then I made it to the airport in the middle of the night, probably around like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I just sat there, like with my
What time was
luggage.
your flight at?
I think it was like kind of like late morning, I believe, because I remember counting the hours and being like, I'm here for 14 hours. And I just sat in a chair and tried to nap while also like putting my body on top of my luggage so no one would steal it.
Wow.
I did that. And then I got on my flight that made me land in Ottawa. And then from Ottawa, then I made it to Toronto, where my family saw me. Like they met up with me at the airport, and my dad was like, "You look kind of gross. Let's get cleaned up."
Yeah, after that you basically kind of pulled an all-nighter.
I like we were back into like okay now I'm like a child like I'm not I don't have to be like the responsible one anymore. I was sleeping in a twin bed with my two sisters.
Mhm. As
That's just
happens.
how it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And so then since I missed my connection to Sacramento, I got to use my backup plan of, well, I'm in LA, so I guess I'll just go to my apartment. So then I was able to go back to our apartment that night and just stay there and then fly home the next morning.
I feel like it's just a matter of timing when things like these happen, and then because like right after that, the pandemic hit like in March.
Yeah. And now I have like, and after that, I was like, wow, that was, even though it was really stressful the last day, like traveling, like, it was really fun to travel, like, on our own. And like, cause like, I'm not like a big, like, oh, I want to travel and just wander around, like, type person. I realized I was like, I like traveling to go visit people who live in those places. And then it's like, they're taking me around, and then we also just get to spend time together. Cause it's like, with the case of like all those friends, since they were all friends I had met online, it was like, that's so, like, normally obviously we never are seeing each other in person, so it's like a nice, like, wow, I actually get to interact with you like face to face for once. And I was like, that's fun, I want to do that more. And then the pandemic hit. I was like, never mind, I will no longer travel anywhere fun.
But yeah, so word of advice to like new, I guess, newly young adults, like
Whoever's listening, I don't know.
whoever's listening, things are gonna happen to you. You just gotta roll with the punches and just like stick with it. If there's something you really want to do, go for it.
And then you can just ask people for help, whether it's parents or other people your age who are also just trying to figure it out. Problem solving skills.
Yeah, lot it really gives you a lot of problem solving skills when you're not like with your parents, or yeah, you're not like with your parents all the time. It just makes you learn to critically think for yourself. Do you have any lasting remarks to make?
Um, I don't know, just be safe. When I say I have online friends, there's a lot of safety precautions in that, okay? Make sure you know who you're talking to on the internet, because a lot of teens these days do not have internet safety, but that's a whole other topic, but something I've noticed. But traveling is fun, and then get a vaccine before you do it.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. Thanks for listening to our headache.